A really warm welcome. I'm Michael Beale, NLP trainer, NLP coach trainer, stakeholder coach. Mental maps, cognitive maps, and worldview. These are concepts and ideas that it is very, very useful for anybody that's interested in improving their influence, their communication, and their persuasion. I also have to say, when I was younger, I really fought against this as an idea. I didn't sort of understand it, but I now do understand it, and I think it's a very, very useful approach. The basic idea is we don't live in the world as such, we live in our perception of the world. That information comes through our senses, our eyes, our ears, our feelings, taste and smell, and it sort of gets onto our brain, our cognitive receptors, and from the impressions on those cognitive receptors, we build our picture of the world. And that picture itself is filtered through our previous experience, our beliefs, the mental states that we're in, and all sorts of other things. The bottom line is that what we see and perceive may or may not be similar to what other people see and perceive. So, what's important about this? The first thing, because, say, myself and somebody else may have a very different perception of what's happened, we may argue about something, and we are arguing and we're getting head up, not really because of anything particular, other than we happen to view the world differently. And therefore, a lot of emotion and stuff can be wasted simply because we have a different perception to everybody else. And in a way, it's useful to be able to respect other people's views and other people's perceptions. We may not choose to do anything about them, but at least it's a good thing to respect that they exist. What does all this mean in practice? If we want to improve our mental maps, then the simplest way is simply to watch it, to look a little bit more carefully, to listen a little bit more carefully, to be open to our feelings. Because in a way, the more accurate the information that we let in, our maps will adjust and improve automatically. The second thing is, if you want people to listen to us, if you want to be able to influence people, it's much better to be able to do it. It's much be able to do it from their map, from their perception, than it is from ours. Because if we start off from their perception, they're much more likely to relate to what we say and be much more interested in what we say as well. One of the other ways that we can improve our mental maps is to explore things like NLP, because in exploring beliefs and exploring states, it actually develops our flexibility so that we become more flexible. And if our thinking of maps are more flexible, then we have the ability to communicate, persuade, influence, gain information for a far wider selection of people. There is something else I find really interesting. In my view, the test of an effective map is, or mental map is, do we have a happy life? Do we get the results that we think we ought to get? Because if our mental maps are aligned, we will be happy and we will be doing the things that get us the results we want. This leads to another interesting thought. If somebody in life isn't happy, if they're not getting the results they want, it may not be about their intelligence, it may not be about what's actually happening in the outside world, it may be about how much do they understand how the world works and how aligned is their thinking to that. And therefore, one of the first ways in helping them move forward is to get them to explore some of the aspects of their thinking and their perception. It's an absolutely fascinating subject. And there are two related subjects that I think are very much tied in with this, that there's quite a bit of research on. One is cognitive bias, and the other is communication bias. A study of these will give us some ground rules that will genuinely help us improve our influence and communication skills. Thanks for listening. I look forward to meeting you on the next video.